never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Let me take these shades off so I can look at you directly in the motherfucking eyes. So, holy shit. Within 48 hours, did I drop that last video 48 hours? Within 48 hours, so much more shit has happened. So much more shit has happened. And we're going to talk about it. The main topic of this video is andrewyang, AOC. But before we even get into that, let's talk about what has transpired within the last 48 hours. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I think I told you before what was happening with my job. That they reduced hours and they reduced payroll. But we were still open and kicking. Since then, they've closed a pretty decent amount of locations. I know they closed a whole bunch of them in PA. And they've reduced our hours even more. Okay? And I had another conference call today, this morning. And I have to pretty much lay off almost all my staff. Managers, such as myself, have to work single coverage pretty much the whole week. We can keep one person to cover the store with us on weekends. So Saturday and Sunday we can have double coverage. And we can also use them for my day off. So essentially 5 days out of the week, I will be covering the store, single coverage, by myself. I don't work in a grocery store or anything. We sell high-end fashion men's suits and stuff like that. Think of a Men's Warehouse kind of deal. So it's not like, it's not going to be swamped there. It's not going to be packed there or anything. But I've had to let people go. People are not going to be working. And that means my key holders, my stock person, the cashiers. As of tomorrow, they're pretty much going to be let go. Not fired in a sense, but I guess you would change it to on call or you change it to laid off. I don't know what exactly you'd want to call it. On call, laid off, what have you. But this coronavirus has sped up exponentially with its effect rate on the population, and I don't mean being sick. And they all know shit rolls downhill, and I don't want to do this to any of them because some of these people have kids. Some of these people, most of America lives paycheck to paycheck. 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Half of America makes $30,000 or less. So these people aren't swimming in money that they can be okay. They just can't. I just can't fathom how anybody can shrug it off and be like, oh, I've got this much saved up. That's not the case. And they could file for unemployment, but that takes weeks. Unemployment takes weeks. They can use, accrued sick time or vacation time, to give them some income. But anybody that knows anything about, retail knows that for most stores, the fiscal year starts February. So February is the start of the new year for us. And we accrue our time off and our vacation time. And they don't in this company in particular, doesn't give a payout for if you don't use your vacation. They don't give a payout if you don't use your personal time off. If you don't use it, you lose it. So everybody's used it already. And so now we're in the beginning stages of accruing it again. So let's just be honest. Nobody has anything. It's only March. It's only been a month. Nobody has any time saved up. So, look, I'm in real time. I'm watching this affect people. And, God damn it, I just got to say, if we had universal basic income, we'd be okay. You understand? If they were giving people what Andrew Yang was suggesting, $1,000 a month for every adult American in the United States, we'd be okay. Households would be okay. People with small businesses would be okay. I have a friend who has a small business. She makes cakes and stuff. Incredible work. But it's going to affect her too. Just like it's affecting my employees. Just like it's affecting everyone. And if they had a cushion, if these people had a cushion of $1,000 a month, they'd be okay. The effects of this would be a lot less drastic than what it is. And now more than ever, not only do I see people needing a healthy dose of UBI, I see them needing and wanting a healthy dose of democratic socialism. I'm just going to fucking say it. Yeah, they want some of that now. They want some of that. I want to tell them to keep that same energy. Keep that energy you had before when you didn't want it. Now it's looking like people fucking need it. Connecticut, finally, as of yesterday, they announced that there will be a suspension of utilities being shut off. NBC News covered it. They talked about it, and they dropped an article. So electric, gas, heat, hot water, nobody should be shut off during this time. This is from Connecticut. But this isn't, worldwide. This isn't the entire United States that came together and thought of this. This is particular states deciding this amongst themselves. Really what needs to happen, the government needs to come out and say nobody will be shut off, full stop. These places that are shutting down, the government didn't put a stop to it. These are corporations that decided amongst themselves, like, yeah, no, we're not taking these chances. We're shutting down, full stop. The government should have announced this. The government should have, but they haven't. They've been real lackluster. I think Trump did announce that he's putting like a suspension on payments for college. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I'm pretty sure I read that yesterday. And people are saying that's a good start, but there's so much more. And I know Tulsi Gabbard has been trying to push legislation through for this UBI, which is going to bring us to our main story. Don't fight that shit. Just put it through. Why the hell are you fighting anything that's going to help the American people? That's just absurd. And understand, whoever's giving pushback on this, you're going to fuck yourself in the general election. So if you're giving pushback on helping the American people out, you're fucking yourself. Whether that's Joe Biden came out and said even if Medicare for All came to across his desk, he would still block it. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Listen, people getting checked for the coronavirus, if they're getting checked and they don't have it, aren't getting a bill. If they're getting checked and they have it, they're going to get billed. And so what people are saying is if there was a sort of Medicare for All, some version of a Medicare for All, people wouldn't be afraid to go get checked. And you have the audacity to stop and say, yeah, if it came across my desk, I wouldn't push it through. What? Anybody doing anything to prevent any sort of ease during this process for the American people, you're fucking yourself. Hear me now, quote me later. So let's get into what this video is actually about. So Andrew Yang, Andrea Ocasio-Cortez, and Harvard professors are saying free cash payments would help during the coronavirus pandemic. And if you saw my last video, it was talking about how we need UBI. And it seems like even, since that last video 48 hours ago, more and more people are waking up to this realization. So as businesses across the U.S. ask employees to work from home in an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19, which is the coronavirus, or COVID-19, many hourly employees and shift workers whose jobs depend on them being at the location are facing an impossible decision: go to work to get paid or stay home to help flatten the curve of coronavirus. The dilemma has helped add fresh fuel to the universal basic income debate. Advocates say if every American were getting free cash, many more workers wouldn't have to make such a choice, which is just true in every way, shape, and form. Too many Americans are leaving home every day to earn wages and tips to survive, even as businesses dry up and schools are shutting down due to the coronavirus, Andrew Yang says. He said this on Friday. Since dropping out of the race, Andrew Yang has started a nonprofit called Humanity Forward to further ideas he popularized during his campaign, which includes, obviously, the $1,000 per month for all American citizens over 18 years old, which he called the Freedom Dividend. Many people who may even have symptoms are going to work in public places because they don't feel they have a choice. A universal basic income will enable these waitresses and parking attendants and rideshare drivers to stay home and make the best choice for themselves, their families, and their communities. And this is coming from Yang. Just like I said, my friend with that makes cakes and what have you is taking a hit. People on Twitter are coming out with their stories. One guy called the Bronx is Yang Gang says his wife is an event planner. She has a 90% cancellation rate for her March through June events because of the travel shutdown. Andrew Yang, the Yang Gang, and AOC are right. We need a UBI stimulus ASAP to head off the worst of the economic effects. So, again, I'm going to reiterate. If you're in the office, if you're in the government, if you're in some sort of power and you're against a UBI stimulus package, if you're against suspending rent, if you're against suspending mortgage payments, if you're against suspending utility bills, you are putting yourself in harm's way. People are going to remember this, and when it comes time to vote, you're going to see the repercussions of your choices now, later. Hear me now, quote me later. The more people take a hit and you're not on their side, the more they're going to lash out. Right? Whatever legislation needs to be passed, we need this to be bipartisan. Right now, it's not time for, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. Get shit done. Full stop. I don't care what your party affiliation is. Get it done. It's not about you right now. It's about the people. All right? Stop blocking shit. Get things done. So AOC, who is a U.S. representative for New York's 14th congressional district, said Thursday that universal basic income must be amongst the measures the government takes to protect people during the coronavirus pandemic. This is not the time for half measures, she says. We need to take the dramatic action now to stave off the worst public health and economic effects. That include moves on paid leave, debt relief, waiving work requirements, guaranteeing health care, UBI, detention relief, so much. And she's right. I've had back and forths with AOC. I mean, there was one time I've criticized her for her take on Andrew Yang's universal basic income on my channel months ago. But then I've also given her praise because she's also, solicited some of Sanders' ideas, but she's also been pragmatic. Like when it came to Medicare for All, she's actually very pragmatic. So I've had, there's pros and cons that I've had involving AOC. But in this scenario, she's 100% correct. Tulsi Gabbard, who's still in the race, mind you, who they just blocked for the debate, she's tried to push through her legislation, HRES 897, which would provide $1,000 per month for all American adults in non-taxable income until the coronavirus no longer presents a public health emergency. That's huge. So she's not even watering it down. She's not even trying to say, oh, 500, 750. She's legit taking Yang's policy, $1,000 a month for every American, every adult, uh, until this is over with, until coronavirus is over with. Now, here's what's going to happen if she does that. And this is why I think they're giving pushback for the legislation. People are going to get a taste of that $1,000 a month. And do you think they're going to want to fucking let it go? Even the people that weren't in the Yang camp, once they get that $1,000 a month, that's not going to be something they're going to want to get rid of. That's going to be something that they're going to want to keep. And the mayor of New York, I just watched an interview with him. He's saying this could be 10 weeks to 6 months.
Every option is on the table in a crisis that's one, we've never seen anything like this. Let's be clear. This is a crisis that will be with us, first of all, I believe at least 6 months. It's unlike anything we've dealt with in our memory. It's changing every hour. So we're going to constantly make new decisions. Now, the city of New York and the state of New York are working very closely, and Governor Cuomo and I agreed that the first step was to end the events and gatherings over 500 people, cancel all of them, any space that handles any kind of event space, entertainment, gathering over 500, canceled.
So this could be a 6 months time span that people are going to be affected by this. And if you give people $1,000 a month for 6 months, they're not going to want to let that go. When things are normal again, right? Then nobody's going to say, all right, now, get rid of that $1,000 a month. We're back in business. No, actually, we're going to need it past the 6 months because people are going to need to rebuild and get back to where they were. So that's why they might be pushing back on this legislation, because they know once people get a taste of this, once they get a taste of universal basic income, they're not going to want to let that shit go. Even Jason Furman, who he practices economic policy at Harvard, and is a chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, he said what they should do is $1,000 a month to every adult in the U.S. or a tax-paying U.S. resident, and $500 to every child who meets the same criteria. So he's taking it even a step further. So he's saying, so Yang and Tulsi and AOC are saying $1,000 a month for every adult. He's saying $1,000 for every adult and $500 for every child. So if you live in a household where it's two of you guys, two adults and one child, that's $2,500. If you're a single parent, whether you're a dad or a mom, you'd be getting $1,000 plus an extra $500 for your kid. That's $1,500 a month. So the gates have opened up in UBI world, and people need to get on board, and Trump needs to get on board. The government needs to get on board immediately. I don't want to hear, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? I don't want to hear that like they did with Medicare for All. I don't want to hear any of that shit. Do it and get it done. You've got we need a bailout. You can bail out Wall Street. You bailed Wall Street out. Right? You did that. We didn't ask you to, and you did it. We need a bailout. I don't care how you get the money. You do it. You can pump as much money into the military as you want, because it's a necessity, right? I don't want to hear, how are we going to do it? You just do it. You get it done. This is going to reflect gravely on who passes what and who is doing what. People already have no earthly idea what they're talking about on social media. So your one fuck up could be made to look even bigger than what it actually is. I'm warning you now. People already think there's some sort of government plot on social media. They're calling themselves woke or thinking outside the box, when in all actuality, they literally have no idea what they're talking about. So whatever fuck-ups you do, prepare for it to be spun even more so. I urge you to do those things that I just laid out. I'll lay it out one more time. Universal basic income of at least $1,000 a month for every adult. If you want to do the $500 for children, that's great too. Also, they need to do it federally, not just state-wise, because some states are doing it, but federally, a suspension of utility shutoffs, and a suspension of mortgage payments and rent. Do those things, and I think people will be in a lot better place. Because right now they're cleaning off shelves, they're buying all the goddamn toilet paper, they're buying all the hand sanitizer. People don't know how to handle these situations well. They really don't. So you got to give them some cushion. You got to give them some cushion. So I just want to give kudos to AOC for being for this. She has a lot more she says on it. But, you know, for time-wise, I'm not going to go through every single thing she said, but she's for universal basic income. Shout out to Tulsi Gabbard being for universal basic income. And obviously, shout out to Andrewyang, who brought the talk of universal basic income into this current climate. Sanders is for, you know, suspension of utilities and rent and mortgage payments. Sanders, you need to get the fuck on board with UBI. Period. Full stop. As a matter of fact, within the next day or two, if I don't see you mentioning anything about UBI, you fucking failed me in every way, shape, and form. Right? It's not about your federal job guarantee right now. This is about universal basic income and helping people out. You need to be on board immediately. And up to this point, I haven't heard him mention it. I really haven't. He's on the money with, you know, suspension of, you know, rent and things like that. But I need to hear him talk about UBI. And don't even get me started with Biden. He's not for UBI. He hasn't even mentioned suspending rent or mortgage or utilities. He doesn't give a fuck. Biden doesn't give a fuck about you. Anybody that voted for Biden thinking he was going to help you in any way, shape, or form, you must have fell on your head as a child like Goku, because he's not for you at all. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to have more Yang news for you coming up and more news on what's going on. Again, I myself have to figure out what's going on with work. I've got to slowly let these people know, like, you're not coming into work. So this is going to be tough. As tough as it is on me telling them, it's going to be even tougher for them taking it. I haven't told everybody yet. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Just hip thrust that like button. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Stay safe. Peace.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind.